All right, I need like background music. You're like do 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 do. All right, Tech Talk with Toby, PLC Next. So the other day, my controller, I don't know, it freaked out. Whatever. I'm reloaded. Got Node Red on there. And we had discussions on LinkedIn um, about how to get this PLC read variables, as far as taking the variables out of the node that PLC Next gives us, or Phoenix Contact, because this is bringing it from the PLC, right? So you can bring anything you want, but when you do that, you may not want to use everything at once, and you may want to split it out, right? So what I did originally was these right here. I used a split node to break up the array, and then I stuck it in a function and isolated it there. Well, that doesn't necessarily use node red properly, and so it was bothering me. There was a acquaintance on LinkedIn that gave me more insight, and then what he suggested I tried to implement, and it didn't work out well. So just practicing learning how the message format is and the object-oriented code as far as how you have to drill down. And you can see from this just on that, it can be cumbersome. Yeah, this is like being very explicit and like hard coding, so not real object-oriented right? And then I made arrays, and then I put that back into my message payload. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll just create message inputs and outputs, and then be able to get those, right? Well, then I was like, okay, well, start again, because it seems more complicated than it needs to be. And what a lot of people say as far as when you are learning Node-RED and the JSON, a real easy thing to do, which I find this trick pretty cool. But if you come over here and you click on this copy path, then it tells you, like if I want, it tells you the code that you need to drill down. So in this case, I want to get to the value of the first input. And if I don't know how to do that because I don't have JSON memorized, or I'm not in it every day, blah, 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 then I need to be able to drill down in the message payload from the object to the variables all the way down to value. So I did that, stuck it in here on my change node, and declared an input 0. And I'm using that address from here. So we'll just do it like this. So like if I want, let's do input 1. And if I come over here and I grab this guy, copy the path, change this to message, boom, that's where I'm at. Or you could deduce that from what you already have. And so then it's got 2 rules in that change node now. And if I copy this guy, because he's putting it to the screen, change the message here. Now, granted, this is, you should recognize that as like the mustache type format. So you have to be careful on some of those. And we should be able to do 2 of them out of that change node. I don't know. Let's see. So we'll do this. And I've only got the 1 up there, so it should go to the screen. And let's see what we got. Yeah. So we've got 2 that are populated on screen. This code is my you know, clunkier version over here as far as these. Okay. And these two are coming from right here. So essentially, you don't need, I don't need this. I can just use the change node, put it to the screen with that. So it simplifies it. And of course, this is just outputs with troubleshooting it for the debugs. But yeah, so let's do that, and I'll show you how simple it is. So I can take this away, except I'm going to screw up my, well, we're calling it inputs. Before I do it that way, well, what I would do, let's just move this down here. All right, so that's disconnected right now, right? So we don't really need it, but if I wanted to add some more change rules, right, like to match my screen over here, so I could just get the PLC outputs. So I'm gonna say outputs. And this is just going to be, well, it's going to be that one right there. So I guess if I want to separate outputs and inputs, I might need it. So I'm going to back up from this for a second, because that's the only thing too about the, but I guess, because I wonder if you could do, when I get more than one output, I wonder if you could do ... which I don't know. So I'm not going to copy it right now. I'm going to go over here, and it's object 5. So I copied and pasted in the edit change node as opposed from the debug screen. And then let's see if this will work. And we will do, because now we can test the ... theory and see, because it would be like 0.4. I don't know if it's gonna like that. Yeah, it doesn't like it. So I'd have to do all of this explicitly. So that's a little bit different as opposed to just what do you call it? Like sending them to a screen. So maybe that should be like output. Alright, I'm gonna back up from here, and we're gonna keep this on there for the time being, unless I figure out something else. Or if I can figure out the suggestion that the person on LinkedIn had made. I mean, obviously there's more than one way you can skin this cat. Yeah, the thing is to get in and use it. If you don't get practice, then you never know what you can do. So I am going to, all right, it's already deployed. Bink. And we should still match up over here. So let's turn off my inputs on the device, and we should see change in state, which that one output went to false. What are we upset about? Function 1, we're upset. What can it not read? All right, let's try again. Oh, because we didn't break it out. Okay, so this is because because I'm not how should you say, I'm not reading it per what the output is here for the variables. So if I want my function code is is written to follow a split. So, and we're just splitting the arrays out. So once I do that, and we'll turn that off. Yeah, so we gotta change the state. Right there. And so now I should be able to, so you got true and 4 falses and a false on this PLC input 1. So if we go, well, the out comes on when I get like 4 of the inputs on. So change the state on the PLC, and there we go. We're back to reading these, and nobody's upset over here. So anyway, I hate doing videos of showing my mistakes and also my successes, but I mean, that's the way I learned. But people will take it that the open PLCs are not easy, and it's not that at all. It's like you have to understand the environment, and if we're coming in hacking, and I am guilty of it, hacking is just like anybody else, because you think you know something, but maybe you don't, and then you have to learn how to talk to the equipment. So anyway, PLC Next, Node-RED is on there, and I think I figured out what I keep doing to screw up my processor. The other day I loaded a program from the PLC next door, and it had a bus definition for looking at analog inputs, and it got upset about that. So if I leave it the way it is now, try to get my Python stuff going, or the C++ stuff, then possibly be able to display something about that. Anyway, Node-RED, pretty straightforward. You can get a lot more complicated, and I know I could put little buttons up here, little indications, but I can't remember, and it's been that long since I've been in Node-RED. So anyway, I have to go back to the libraries. Imagine that. We're still going to the library after all this time. All right, have a good night. Ciao.